All right, welcome to another episode of Gin and Truth. I'm the captain of this ship, Robert motherfucking Reed. I got a tumble full of handles, got a mindful of thoughts. Let's go. All right, gang, let's jump into this shit. Now, before we jump into the meat of today's rotted sandwich, I want to address the fact that I'm over here sweating like a runaway slave here. This is sitting on some bullshit. I told you, there's no reason to live in Texas. I'm sweating simply because I'm awake, and this is sitting on some bullshit. But gang, the meat of today's rotted sandwich is our difference in priorities with Christian apologists, with Christians in general. But I'm definitely want to circle the wagons around Christian apologists. The reason why these conversations bear no fruit, why we just keep running the same circles, is because what's important to us is not important to them and vice versa. See, we are stuck on the bullshit, like actual factuals, discussing reality. Not them, not them. Their priorities begin and end with, did I win this debate? Countless analogies, stupid stories, assertions, cruelty, insensitivity at best. That's their priority list. We're over here talking about facts. They're talking about some bullshit. And it's something that I had to learn probably around 12 years ago, right? And that is to proportion your offense to the person that has offended you. Now, little therapy session here. And speaking of analogies, here comes an analogy. Uncle Bobby, go fuck yourself, you hypocrite. But my ex-wife, right? I will never truly get into details on what it is she did to me, but gang, it cut deep. And anyone who's been through any kind of divorce, you know what I'm talking about, right? And again, we were married for 13 years and, trying to pick up the pieces, trying to remember who you were before you got married it's difficult. It is absolutely fucking difficult. And I remember, you get hurt because you're like, how did my loving spouse do this to me? Well, they're not your loving spouse anymore. And it takes a while for you to get to that spot. Because I remember, despite what you guys see here on camera and despite my job description, I'm not naturally a social person. I'm not. My happy place is at home, alone, doors locked, total silence, no one's around me. I'm not social by nature. It's a skill that I've had to work on, right? So if you have a very social job, if I worked in a cubicle, I wouldn't tell anybody. But I had to tell my management staffs, like, look, in case you guys are starting to get the buzz and on the floor on why, the big guy isn't bringing his normal, the grand gala spectacle, before the rumors start, my wife left me. She moved away. It's all kinds of fucked up, but she left. So I was telling them that, to kind of get ahead of the rumor mill. And I still remember this. I took one of the managers, because I told them kind of one at a time when I was strong enough to talk about it. And we were about 14, 15 days out. And I took Celeste into one of the massage rooms. Like, I got to, tell you what's going on. And I told her, and her reaction was literally, that bitch. She was mad because, gang, if you knew the dynamic between me and my ex, the last couple you would have ever thought would to get a divorce was us. We were happy than a motherfucker. 13 years in, I was still flirting with her, right? I mean, it was like, was she getting a divorce? Nope. Guess who's wrong? Oh yeah, we got a divorce. When I heard the phrase, that bitch, my instincts took over. I protected her. It's like, don't call her that. I was conditioned because she was still my loving wife, at least emotionally. You just don't throw that in the trash after 2 weeks of a 13-year relationship, right? And this is strong coming out of the mouth of a dude who sucks at math. Numbers don't lie. Numbers do not lie. I may not have found out, any physically, or sexual intimate details about what was going on behind my back, but math. Gang, I've got a friend who I helped out probably 11 years ago. I let her live in my house till she got back on her feet. 11 years later, I still get mail with her name on it. No matter how dastardly you're trying to be, you can't cover all your tracks. So I was still getting my ex-wife's mail. And you goddamn right I opened it up. And you can start to piece together the financial trail, the puzzle. Then you realize she's been planning this for almost a year. I'm not jealous. I wasn't born with the jealousy gene. Jealousy stems from control. It's nothing I've ever had to battle. I've tried, and it's been like the longest 5 seconds of my life. I'm just not wired to be jealous. So whatever she was doing physically behind my back, that didn't. I was like, okay, hope it was fun. Got your rocks off. What got me was the deception. You know how much effort it takes to look someone in the eye and tell them you love them in January, knowing that before December is over, you're out of there? That's what got me. And so as I started to piece together the puzzle, and when people would find out, 3, 4, 5 months after, and they're like, that bitch, you know what my response was? You goddamn right. Because my loving wife wouldn't do that to me. And I was right. My loving wife wouldn't. But that person is gone. What's left is this asshole. So when I found out some new shit, I'll be like, of course she did that. That's exactly what I would expect an asshole to do. Right? Gang, that's a really long way to go in some early morning therapy for me to tell you this is how we have to start handling apologists. And I'll speak for myself. When I first got on Twitter, oh yeah, I was burning up that screen, screenshotting information and trying to that is such an ego-based position for me to take. Uncle Bobby, please go fuck yourself. I'm holding these people to my standard. I would never minimize the severity of rape, slavery, the Holocaust, murder. The only thing to say about it is God damn, I'm sorry. Sorry that happened. That's all you say. Anything else, you're just an asshole trying to win a debate. And I'm sitting there trying to convince these motherfuckers that you should not minimize the severity of it. Well, if there is no God, does it mean it's objectively wrong? You shouldn't say that it's objective. Now, if you follow me on Twitter, how fast am I now to say, do you like nachos? It's an ego-based position for me to sit here and be like, you should think like me. No, they're going to think like themselves. But we just have different priorities. See, to them, it is actually important to argue on whether rape, this Holocaust, any of that is objectively wrong. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Now, before we roll this fucked up ass tape, I've got a women's self-defense seminar in 72 hours. It's going to be elbow to elbow, probably over 20 people. Let's say there's 25 women and girls. Of that number, probably 5 or 6 have already been raped. Never in the history of sex crimes has a survivor been made comforted as she's sitting there telling me about the worst day of her fucking life. If I sat there and was like, man, Susie, that was all kinds of fucked up, but let me tell you something. Jeff Durbin says it's objectively wrong. Oh, Robert. Whew, I no longer have to carry around this load. It's PTSD is gone. Jeff Durbin says it's objectively wrong. That's never happened. It's never happened. Since it's not important to them, then that bullshit isn't important to me. And this is how you guys prove that there's a God. But that's your priority. That is your priority, right? Since your God won't do a fucking thing to stop rape, people like me have to go out there and get their hands dirty and deal with it. See, to me, that's important. But to you, playing these fucking games on the internet is. Now, gang, let's go ahead and hit it with the Autobots transform and roll out. What do you see? This fuck face. Podcasters, you can't see, but it's fuck face Frank Turk. I can't stand this motherfucker. Now, I will admit, we've done this clip before. But this one, I want to do it again. Because this one right here just really seals in the flavor. When I tell you that these suckers just cannot focus on the right shit, this is training tape. This is perfect. When you talk to someone, you're like, you know what? I want to be the biggest asshole in North America. You point them to this video. You're like, take notes. Okay, this is the one where fuckface Frank Turk talks to a non-binary individual named Math. And like me, like Dr. Mac Hunt, Math is tired of the bullshit. And Math walks up there and they're like, you know what? Motherfuck, pizza taking a nap. What do you mean by that? Evidence for the resurrection. Fuck that. Fuckface Frank Turk, I want to talk about these motherfucking lies. What you say about LGBTQ plus people is fucking lethal. Stop doing that. What did fuckface Frank Turk say? Math. If there is no God, what's wrong with transgender faggots killing the math? I'm already mad we haven't even rolled the fucked up ass tape. But we've done this one before, but I want you guys to see it again because this is picture perfect what I'm talking about. Again, let's roll over here to fucking YouTube. And again, why did I take time off? 1, my YouTube channel got taken down. 2, because of people like this. Daily Dose of Wisdom has right under 600,000 followers, gang. Let's hit it with the blow up shoe. That means YouTube is paying this idiot money to support evil people like Turek. And if Turek was here right now, you know what he would say? By what ultimate standard, objective standard, do you call me evil? Go fuck off. But this is what's important to them. I think protecting the lives of LGBTQ plus people is important. Theirs is to play word games and try to get the atheists to say the word objective. Now, gang, we're going to bleed on this one. This one's going to suck. You guys ready? Let's roll the tape.
Gay rights, there's no transgender rights, there's no human rights. It's just one person's opinion against another.
Why do you say that if I'm going to be a Christian again, then I need to repent from being LGBTQI plus and then accept this narrow version of the gospel? That to me is like conversion therapy, and the UN and all these other medical major medical organizations in the US and around the world have called that torture. So for you to stand here and to defend that, that's pretty messed up. What is your response to that?
Well, Mav, let me ask you a question.
The clip that we're about to watch features a very
Pause the tape. Where was Math wrong? Where was Math lying? They're right. They're absolutely right. It is conversion therapy, which has been legally deemed fucking torture. The topic at hand is you are hurting people. And Peter, I'm listening. I'm bad at it, but I'm listening. When you say KILL, yeah, it's okay. They are skilling themselves. You understand that? When you commit skillet, that's bad. That's bad. And when you commit skillet, because someone is pumping your head full of this bullshit, the only thing to say is to tell that person, stop saying the bullshit, because you're making queer people commit skillet. But what's important to Daily Dose with his silver plaque to Turek? Math is saying, quit making people like me commit skillet. Skillet is bad. And they just want to talk about the word objective. Now, this is just sitting on some bullshit. And Brandon, you can go fuck yourself. Let's just get to the actual video. You guys ready? Let's roll the tape.
If God said that there is going to be male and female, and then there's some variety within that called intersex people, why do you guys insist on this binary definition of sex when clearly biology is not so binary? There are intersex people, and you'll say, oh, it's just 1% of people, et cetera, et cetera. And then also, let's extend that to same-sex relationships. So you have someone who's born heterosexual, bisexual, or homosexual. So why is there this thing where God would say, that's fine, but that's not fine? And he creates them knowingly like that. And then in the past, the church has said these people are mentally ill, they deserve to be, put in institutions, penalize, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, I could go on and on about that. But my question is, why do you say that if I'm going to be a Christian again, then I need to repent from being LGBTQI plus and then accept this narrow version of the gospel? That to me is like conversion therapy, and the UN and all these other medical
Right.
major medical organizations in the US and around the world have called that torture.
Correct.
So for you to stand here and to defend that, that's pretty messed up. What is your response to that?
Well, Mav, let me ask you a question.
Before he responds to this, just think about all the different ways that this conversation could go and all of the different rabbit trails that
Pause the tape. First and foremost, I wanted Math to speak their truth. That's why I didn't pause the tape on that. Math told no lies. No lies at all. Now you got this asshole. Now, there's a lot of ways that this can go. No, there's one of two ways. The right way or the go fuck yourself way. Because what Math said, again, Math kicked nothing but actuals, then took a pause, then kicked some motherfucking factuals. Where was Math wrong? Right? And now this asshole, what? Let's see what he has to say. Roll the tape.
that you could go down, or ways that you could get stuck talking about these things in like a political context.
Again, pause the tape. Get stuck. That's a great place to get stuck. Let's devise a way so LGBTQ plus people don't commit skillet. That's a great place to be, because call me crazy, gang. I think they shouldn't commit skillet. What do you guys think? Hit me up in the comments. That's it. And what Math's saying is true. Again, Christians, the persecution that you fake the funk on, you've got no idea what that means. Persecution is defined as what it is you do to everyone else, including Math. Me calling your religion stupid isn't persecution. That's called an observation. Just like you laugh at everyone else's faith, I laugh at yours. Persecution is systemic. Persecution, I would say, is walking out of your house into a world that literally hates you. Christians, you don't know what that means. Not here in the United States, you don't. But sometimes our LGBTQ plus family members don't even have to walk out of their own front door. The hate is right there in their house. And sometimes that pressure gets so great that sometimes they do commit skillet. And Math is like, we don't want to commit skillet anymore. Not behind your bullshit. So stop it. No lies detected. Here, gang. No lies detected. Let's just roll the tape.
Or something that you know is going to become tribal and totally divisive. But instead of doing that, I actually really respect what Frank Turek does here, which is
pause the tape. Get respect by those that are worthy of it themselves. If you respect fuckface Frank Turek during this fucking discussion, I don't respect you. But this is their tactics. Let's start talking about something else. Again, I just fell down and my arm is on backwards. I'm in a lot of fucking pain. Veins are being squeezed off. This limb is now going to go gangrenous. Please take me to the hospital. Uncle Bobby, let's talk about that play you made in 1994 against Oklahoma. I mean, your Longhorn legend has real. I don't think you understand the assignment there, fuck nuts. My arm is hurting. I'm going to lose it. Take me to the. Well, I mean, you see how you stood at home on the reverse. I mean, that's exactly what a strong side outside linebacker is supposed to do, Uncle Bobby. So that's got nothing to do with the fact that my arm is on backwards. That's what this is. He respects the fact that Turek is now going to play tactics, the Roadrunner tactic, the Stormtrooper tactic, the go fuck yourself tactic, the whatever they call it. It's answering a question with a diversionary question. They're talking about committing skillet. Now he wants to talk about, is it objectively wrong? Get respect from those that are worthy of it themselves. Roll the tape.
just sort of zoom out to more of a philosophical level and have a conversation about sort of almost the conversation beneath the conversation. So check this out.
I'm a secular humanist. I think that everybody is innately good.
What do you mean by good?
Well, obviously murders.
Pause the tape. Let's go back over here to StreamYard. And look at his fucking face. Look how smug he looks. How many times have we all heard that? What do you mean by good? What do you mean by asshole? Right? I just heard Math talk about skillet. Obviously, skillet is bad. You know what Turk's going to say to that? By what objective standard is skillet bad? We have different priorities, gang. Years ago, when I was just a personal trainer, I remember a lady that I used to train, long story short. She grew up with money. She married money. All she's ever known is the finer things in life. Again, leaving out a lot of details for obvious reasons, but she was building her dream compound, not home, compound. Well, let's say she planned the housewarming party for the 21st. She just got notice that it had to be kicked back to the 28th. Why? Because God forbid you just go get wood from Home Depot, which is a reputable company, kind of, and just like, hey, contractor, build me some kick-ass columns with the wood that's literally right down the street. No, she had to cross the 7 seas to have that wood flown in, because you can't go get your shit from Lowe's. What kind of poor person does that? Well, one thing that neither she nor her contractor, I guess, kind of emotionally budgeted for: pest inspection. To prevent, some overseas kind of termite cross-contamination, the bugs that are prevalent here in Central Texas aren't the same that you're going to find in Rome, Italy. So there was a holdover. Again, cutting out a lot of details. At the exact same time, my then brother-in-law was literally hanging on to life. He went joyriding. He wrapped his vehicle around a concrete pillar underneath Mopac, crushed everything. The only thing that was still alive, that was barely holding on, was his brain, literally. And the doctor was like, this motherfucker's not going to make it. You need to keep your phones on you, because we're probably going to give you the call at any minute. He eventually beat all the odds and he survived. But I remember she came in one day, and again, it's not my style, especially here at work, to share what's really going on. It's like, what's wrong? The shit's fucked up. What's wrong with that? Just leave me alone. So I hadn't told anybody. She comes in, and I remember she just uncharacteristically late, and she just threw her fucking phone, was mad, huffing and puffing. I'm like, what is wrong with you? And she told me that her home warming party was going to be kicked back about 10 or 12 days. And she was all kinds of mad. And I remember, and I was just like, it's a party. Cancel it or reschedule it. Give me a break. Gang, she looked at me like I said, I'm going to burn down your fucking house before you move in. And it was at that moment I realized, you know what? We just have different priorities. And I don't agree, but I respect her space. I did. Having that home warming party was just as important to her as getting my then brother-in-law out of the hospital was to me. I personally think there's no comparison, but she thinks that was important. So I don't invade that space. That's what this is like. What's important to me is listening to what Math just said. We are committing skillet behind the bullshit, Turk. But what's genuinely important to people like this are word games. Because if you can hear someone say, I'm probably not going to wake up tomorrow morning, you know what I mean? Because of the shit that you're saying. And your only response is, what do you mean by good? Pizza sleeps fast under the west, therefore the mudge. If there is no God, what's wrong with... That's what I'm talking about, gang. We just don't have the same priorities. But trust and believe. This is what's important to them. This is why I can't fucks with them. That's why now I'm quicker than ever on Twitter. And look at his fucking face. Right? Now when people say the bullshit, because it just happened over the weekend. What about, is it objectively wrong? Do you like nachos? I'm not having this fucking discussion with you. Roll this fucked up ass tape.
It's wrong.
Why?
Because if I went and murdered someone's
Why?
kid,
Why?
then that mother or father would not have a child, and they would be in
Why is
mourning, and
that
that
bad?
caused them some great psychological turmoil for the rest of their lives and trauma they're going to have to work through in therapy. So objectively, we can see psychologically they're not going to be doing too hot. So of course,
Okay, but
that's objectively wrong.
why is it objectively wrong to harm people?
Because if we are going to come together as a society,
Pause the tape. This is childish. Again, where was math lying? No lies detected. It's wrong to murder a child. And if it takes me more than that to convince you, fuck you. You're not worth my time. Right. Okay, fine. Because an innocent life has just been snatched off this fucking planet. Parents are going to grieve. They will never be the same. This is all kinds of fucked up. Yes, that is wrong. And if you just want me to say objective, it's objectively wrong. In a very childlike manner, why is it wrong? Again, that's all they're going to do. Why? 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 Until you say God done it, they're just going to keep asking you why. Roll this fucked up ass tape.
and cooperate as a human race, we need to have
Why?
some sort of moral standard to bind us together, regardless if there's a God or not.
But whose moral standard? I mean, Hitler had a pretty tight moral standard within Germany. Why was he wrong?
Pause the tape. I mean, look at his face. This is what I'm talking about. In order to make their argument, I now have to take into consideration the feelings of one of the most prolific mass murderers on the planet. No. Why was Hitler wrong? If I have to explain that to you, you can go fuck yourself. Again, I would say imagine if you said that to a Jew. I don't have to imagine it. He has done it. And despite your personal feelings on Dave Silverman, no one, no Jew should ever have to justify their feelings as to why it is they think Adolf Hitler was a hot steaming pile of monkey shit. But Turk, again, because his priorities are so fucked up, he had no problem with it. None at all. Flashed one of the most iconic pictures ever taken. A stack of bodies, butt-ass naked. Jews, Holocaust victims that had literally been worked to death. They were going to be pushed into a mass grave, covered in lye, and then buried. It's one of the most iconic pictures ever taken. Turk flashed that picture and said, if there is no God, there's nothing wrong with this. It's just your subjective opinion. He said that to a Jew. Now he's sitting here in front of someone who is a member of the LGBTQ plus community, whose self-harm rate is entirely too fucking high. And instead of listening to a member of that family say, you're hurting us, man, stop doing it. Yeah. All he can do is play his fucked up ass games. How else is he supposed to get paid? Roll this fucked up ass tape.
Well, obviously he was wrong on many levels. I mean, the fact
Why?
that he murdered millions of people.
But by what standard? Why is it wrong to murder people?
Well, I'm just going to say, within my own experience, if I witness the murder of someone, which I gratefully have not, I would be, obviously, there would be a sinking feeling inside of me, like, wow, I just witnessed the loss of someone's life. That's a terrible thing to see. Like if someone got ran over by a car and it was so quick and you just didn't see it coming, of course that would screw someone up for life. So to me, it's like, you don't have to attribute it to whether there's a God or not. Psychologically, the way that my brain is going to see that is like, wow, I just saw harm.
Pause the tape. So again, here's the problem. They don't want the answer. I told you there's an entire branch of study called sociology. It's the study of human behavior. I'm sure Bundy can even tell you, because I'm sure there's probably an evolutionary reason as to why it is. When you step on a roach, you don't lose a second of sleep. When you watch an armadillo get hurt, maybe a twinge. A cuddly bear, a monkey, as whatever is being harmed or skeleted, more resembles you, it's going to start to hit you just a little bit different. There's a reason why even me losing my mom is going to hurt me way more. Just last year, no details, but a homeless person was riding their bike right in front of my place of work. We saw it. We did. Wasn't on the sidewalk, was on the street, hugging the curb. Something happened. The homeless person fell head first onto the street. Let's just say a very large vehicle did not stop in time. It was all kinds of fucked up. It was horrible. And truth be told, I thought the way the police handled that person's remains, I'm not a cop, so but let's just say they didn't cover this person up. That was too much for people to see, and people saw it. It was all kinds of fucked up, and it bothered me. But it bothered me way more that I watched my mom die. There's probably an evolutionary reason. There's a sociological reason as to why death bothers us. Now, if you want the actual factuals, you'll go ask a scientist. You will not ask an apologist. But Brandon, Turk, people like that, they don't want to know the answer. They just want to stick to their fucking script. Roll the tape.
Inflicted onto another
Yeah,
human.
yes, you're describing how you know something's wrong. The question
it's
is
a psychological feeling and
the
a
question
physiological
is
reaction.
the question is, why is it wrong if there's no God?
So wait, can you repeat that last thing?
Yeah, you're explaining one of the ways you might know that something's wrong.
Pause the tape. Again, just how smug his face is. This is what I told fuckface Chris. I don't care. I don't care. I don't. Again, what's important to you is playing these games. I'm going to go teach women how not to be raped because your God doesn't do a fucking thing to stop it on the account that the asshole doesn't exist. Since your God won't do a fucking thing, I'm going to go do my motherfucking job. That's what's important to me. Well, is rape objectively wrong? I said I don't care. I don't care. This is what Turk's doing. You told me that it's wrong, but you're not telling me how you know it's wrong. I don't care to. I don't care to. Because I already know in advance, one, this is sitting on some bullshit. Two, you won't accept any answer that doesn't begin and end with the word God. So I don't care. I do not care. Rape is bad. Murder is bad. Committing skillet is bad. And if I have to go further than that, you're not worth my time. I don't respect you. Roll the tape.
Question is, why is it wrong if there's no God?
Well, I just think that as a society, we wouldn't be able to just say like, oh, we should allow murder. We should allow this and stuff to happen because obviously slavery was wrong. We abolished that.
Slavery
obviously
wrong?
He keeps saying, obviously murder is wrong. Obviously slavery is wrong. Obviously. But what's so important about this is that he's actually alluding to the objective moral law that exists within humanity, that is given to humanity from above. If one culture finds it to be more useful or pragmatic to do something that the other...
Pause the tape. Again, this is the newly coined logical fallacy. God just dry hump shit. Christians, you're going about it the wrong way. You're making an observation, then you're just putting a scoop of God on top of it. Yes, we feel bad when someone is raped and murdered, or at least you should. And because you have those feelings, you just say, God done it. Daniel, I hope you see this. I saw you yesterday on Twitter, or on Monday, whenever the fuck it was. The moon apparently is the perfect size to create a total eclipse. So what did Daniel do? Put 2 scoops of God on top of that. God made the moon the perfect size to create a total solar eclipse. That's not how it works. I said over Twitter last week, my IBS kicked my ass. It was so bad, in fact, I could not drive the 70 minutes it would have taken to go see my father for what's quite possibly his last birthday. I could not drive to my front door to my mailbox without having to run to the toilet and take a massive shit. I'm a lot better now. I'm a lot better now. I know you guys really wanted to know those details, so you're welcome. What would a Christian apologist say? Your IBS flared up, now it's gone. God, God, God. Right? You feel bad that someone got raped and murdered? God, God. You're going about it backwards. Prove your God exists first, then show me what this fucker's responsible for. You're showing me the answer to the equation, then asserting that the answer is God. That's not how it works. Roll the tape.
Culture finds to be morally egregious, but they find it to be morally righteous. And if they're majority rules, then all of a sudden what happens here in a world of mere survival of the fittest, who is to what are you going to look at these two cultures up against to assess which one is right and which one is wrong? Or as C.S. Lewis put it, how can we really call something crooked unless we have a sense of what is straight? And the point is that humans do have a sense of what is straight, but that shared sense of straightness is itself a huge clue to the origin of objective morality. I'll leave it at that for now.
Obviously, slavery was wrong. We abolished that.
Why?
Obviously.
Okay. You're bringing up all sorts of moral wrongs, but
what I'm saying is that was what we need to cooperate as a human race, regardless of whether there's a God or not, because evolution has incentivized cooperation. If I share my fruit with my person, they're going to survive. If I take care of the elderly person in my clan, they're going to survive.
No.
If I take care of the children in my village, they're going to survive. The human race will survive and reproduce, and therefore everyone else is better.
Pause the tape. I do know at least that much. God, I hope I might Bundy correct me if I'm wrong. Evolutionarily speaking, math is correct. It pays to be a member of the circle, the collective. You do that by cooperating. It does not guarantee your survival, but it does greatly increase your odds. Because if you need something, and if I give you the hookup, you're more likely to help me out when I need the hookup. Now, if I act like a fucking asshole, it doesn't guarantee that no one's going to help me, but it greatly reduces my odds of getting that assistance when I need it. We are evolved to be social creatures. I need help sometimes. You need help sometimes. We need the circle. Evolutionarily speaking, we need each other. And that's as far as my dumbass can take this topic. Roll the tape.
Benefited from it.
Mav, evolution is survival of the fittest.
That's not true. There's a lot more to it than you're strawmanning evolution. You're just so wrong about this stuff. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Where am I wrong about evolution being the survival of the fittest?
Pause the tape. I can tell you already, because he's going to fist fuck the definition of survival of the fittest. Christians hear that, and it's like, well, Robert, you're twice the size of everybody else. So survival of the fittest is you walk into that person's house, beat the dog shit out of them, and just take their shit. That's not survival of the fittest. Survival of the fittest speaks to which group of organisms best survives in this environment. That's what survival of the fittest means. It doesn't mean I'm bigger, faster, stronger. I've got a 7-degree black belt, so I'm just going to whip the dog shit out of you and take what you got. There's a name for that. It's called being an asshole. That's got nothing to do with evolution. That's where Christians are wrong on this. Roll the tape.
You probably read that guy who
Darwin
funded the Ark Encounter. Maybe you or whatever in Kentucky. You probably read his straw man version of evolution. And I really don't think that you really talk to biologists and you really know what's going on. Because there's a whole lot of stuff that a lot of you guys will just straw man and not even take as like what it actually says.
Hold on. Okay. Got a lot of people behind here. I'm asking you simple questions. You come up asking a moral question. I'm asking for a moral standard. You haven't given me a moral standard.
I've said objective morality. That is a moral standard.
Where does the objective morality come if there is no God? I'm not the source of objective.
From within our wiring, from collaborating with other people. Okay. There are negative consequences to murder, obviously.
Negative is a moral term. You're importing a moral standard into your atheistic system, and you're stealing it from a theistic worldview.
That's not true.
Exactly.
Well, I'm sorry. You don't
get
many
moral
morality
standards besides Christianity.
Mav.
There's Buddhism. There's Shintoism.
Mav. Here's the problem. Pause the tape. Just like Saitin Bruggen, Kate. Christian apologists, you can take it. You can dish it out, but you can't take it. This is what you do to everyone else. You stand atop a pile of bullshit and you just lecture everyone else. You just stay on your fucked up ass script, just like Turk's doing now. No matter what Matt says, the response is why? That's child. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. Mad that someone is doing to an apologist what apologist does to everyone else. Roll this tape. Let's wrap it up.
There's
Stop.
all these different moral codes from all over the world that I've read about that I've imported. So
Mav,
that's not true.
Mav, I'm going to have to ask you to move away from the microphone unless you give me a chance to respond. Okay?
Fair enough.
Okay.
No, it's not, Matt.
So
Stick with your guns.
there is no objective moral standard unless some kind of God exists. Everything is just a matter of human opinion.
You're right. Fuck nuts. Just like you have your opinion, I have mine. Again, I'm sticking with what it is I know because I teach self-defense. Rape is wrong. Well, is that just your opinion? You goddamn right it is. And it's a fucking fantastic opinion. Well, what? Kitty table. I'm not going to have this discussion with you. Roll the tape.
And so when you hold up a sign that says that certain people have treated LGBTQ people wrongly,
well, they have, and there's so much evidence for it.
Mav, you might be exactly right about that. But
I know I am. I have experiences and data to back it up.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry that people have treated you poorly.
You have.
But
you don't have to go on and spread these bigoted viewpoints on YouTube and Facebook like you do. It's just a bunch of misinformation. You have no idea. You have blood on your hands.
Okay, Mav. Do you want to have a conversation, or you just want
No, I really just would like you to just apologize and turn around and see that what you're doing is harmful.
Mav, there's only harm if God exists. Harm is only evil if God exists. And so you're stealing
harm regardless if God exists or not.
Thank you, Mav. You're not interested.
Pause the tape in the tape. That was the money shot. Let's come back over here to StreamYard. Get this fuck face off my screen before I have a stroke. That's what I was talking about. That was it. That's the whole ball game. Now sound like Donald Trump. 2 Corinthians. That's the whole ball game. Uncle Bobby, go fuck yourself. That right there. You've got blood on your hands, turd. What you gonna do? I'm gonna talk about the bullshit. No. I don't think you understood what I just said there, fuck face. You got blood on your hands. People are committing skillet behind the bullshit. Well, I'm sorry people have, mistreated you. I was talking to you. That's what's important to them. That's the bullshit. Gang, Uncle Bobby's only giving you one big motherfucking problem. So as a result, Uncle Bob's giving you one big motherfucking solution. Not having the right priorities. Shut the fuck up. That's what I'm talking about. Like my dad would always say when we were kids, what's the bottom line? And he did that long before Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's what happens when you have an officer for a father. Dad never put up with the fluff, the bullshit, the small talk. What's the bottom line? Get to it. Fuck nuts. Right? You could have gotten to your point by now. All that matters, and I remember telling that to Chris, all I care about is the bottom line. Well, is rape objectively wrong? I don't care what you call it. I told you, call it pumpernickel. I still got to go to work tomorrow and do my job. Well, if it's not objectively wrong, why would you care? Turek stood in front of a non-binary individual. And when that non-binary individual said, stop playing the games, people are committing skillet behind the words that leave your mouth. Now apologize. Math. It's only wrong if God exists. You just heard the actual factuals that transgender people, gay people, or lesbianic sisters, intersex, they commit self-harm at way too high of a rate. And they do it, Christians, because of you. Again, sometimes they don't even have to leave their house to receive the molten hot hatred that you think you experience. You don't, Christians. You perpetrate it. And when they say, this shit hurts, you guys got to stop doing this. You know what you guys say? Well, if there is no God, what's wrong with it? We just don't have the same priorities. I think we should address reality and play reality's games by reality's rules. You guys just want to be the last person standing during a debate. And here's the thing, just like that lady with her home warming party and all this other crap, I don't like it, but I will respect your space. And by that, I mean, I don't respect you, but I respect your space. I will never enter into one of these debates, but it's important to you. So tally ho, go back to the little termite circle and talk about how it is you own the atheist, epic style, because they wouldn't use the word objective. They wouldn't admit that God makes them feel bad that the Holocaust happened. I don't care. Have your fucked up ass circle jerks, but just do it over there at the kiddie table. Because my priorities are, let's deal with reality. Your priorities are sitting on some bullshit. All you want to do is win a debate. All right, gang, the big guy's held you long enough. He's signing the fuck off. Gin and Truth, let's go. Gang, I cannot stand fuckface Frank Turek.